Hi, we're going to do a quick rolling and stretching of the most typically overactive or tight muscles because we sit at computers all day, most of us. You can use a roller with little ridges in it, or a firm roller's the best. So if you have a firm roller too, that's great. So you don't need a mat. This is great for to start out your day or to end your day or to do if you have really tight muscles to do before a Pilates routine. I will have some Pilates routines where we're going to do it with the routine and then do a quick class. So just take your right calf and put your left calf over for a little bit more pressure. Lift up your hips and roll out the calf muscle. Never roll on the joint, just roll up to the joint. Only roll the muscle. And then come on back, and wherever you feel a tight spot, it may be to one side or the other, we're going to breathe in and out 4 times. And then we're going to roll out that muscle again. Oh, feels good. Okay, let's go to the left side. This is we're doing this quickly, so I'm not going to go into a lot of teaching, but let's roll down. This is great. If you can bring a roller while you're traveling, it's really a great idea. If not, just bring a tennis ball. It just takes a little bit longer. So roll back on that calf muscle and lift up your hips to make a bigger pressure on our trigger point pressure on the muscle, and we're breathing. I think while I was talking that was about 2 breaths, so 2 more. And then roll out the muscle. Calves are typically really tight, and they're a big reason why we have low back pain. Now, we're going to do the piriformis. A lot of times if we walk a lot, the piriformis gets really tight. It's a stabilizing muscle. It is not a walking muscle or a running muscle, but a lot of people use it that way. So sit on your roller just behind your sits bones, those bones that protrude out, and take one foot, put it on top of the knee, and then you're going to go to this side where the knee is up, and then you're going to find where you might have to go back a little bit. Oh, I found it. Sometimes you have to even go over. Let's breathe in and out 4 times. And then come back to center. Do it on the other side, just behind your sits bone. Roll to that side. Oh, usually it's this side for me. So I want you to roll back. Oh, found it. Let's breathe. Relax into it. And come back to center. Now we're going to do our upper spine, the thoracic area. So you want to take the roller, just put it right where your shoulder blades are, and hug yourself. Give yourself a good morning or a nighttime hug. And you're going to try to get those muscles between the shoulder blades. That's why you're doing this. You're exposing those. So let's roll all the way down. My students always say they really like. So you roll down. Ooh, nice crack. To the bottom of your ribs. Ooh, that feels so good. And then come on back up and find where there might be tightness between the shoulder blades. Like I just found it, and it's on one side. It's on my left side. So I'm just going to go to the side a little bit and breathe in and out 4 times. Come back to center and roll it out again. And then we're going to come
right where your shoulder blades are, not your shoulders, but your shoulder blades, just about mid-shoulder blades. And I want you to put your hands layered behind your head, put your bottom down, and then just look up at the ceiling and then back at the wall behind you. Just let those ribs kind of go up to the ceiling, kind of unstick those ribs, just kind of give a little bit more flexibility in the spine there. If you're doing a Pilates routine after this, that will really help. And then we're coming up and then rolling down to the bottom of your ribs. Okay, so that's that back and calf, all the back part. Now we're going to do the side. We're going to do the latissimus dorsi. So I want you to put the roller right just below your armpit. And you can put your thumb up, that would help. And I want you to roll down until you find a tender spot. And sometimes it doesn't take a long time, like I found it right away. Sometimes you might have to lean back a little bit or lean forward a little bit to find that tender spot. Latissimus dorsi is a huge muscle. So, and it often gets really tight. So, sorry, that's about 2 breaths, 2 more breaths. And then we're going to come down. There's your hip bone, and then you want to come right above your hip bone. There's a muscle in there called the tensor fascia latae. It's not a drink. I'll probably pronounce it wrong. So you're going to come on that, stack your hips. You can even flex your bottom foot and breathe. And then we're going to go below that hip bone. Go below that hip bone, and you're going to roll down this side of your leg until you feel a tender spot. Usually that's not hard to find. And then flex that foot and breathe. So we just rolled the whole side of our body. Before we go to the other side, let's lie down on our roller just below the hip joint. We're going to roll out those big quadriceps, the whole complex, part of your hip flexor. That's a bunch of muscles. It's the hip flexor complex. So we're going to roll down. Don't roll on the knee, just to the knee. You're going to roll down that whole quad, both quads, and then come back and find that tender spot somewhere on that. Mine's usually closer to my knees. And then you can bend and straighten or wiggle back and forth or do both. Inhale and exhale. And then roll out that whole muscle from your hip down to above your knees. Never roll a joint. Okay, so we did that. So we're going to go now to the other side with our latissimus dorsi. So let's go to the just below. Come down a little bit, just below your armpit. Put your thumb up and then roll down until you find it. Oh, mine's a little bit lower on this side and it's a little bit back. So let's breathe. Relax into it. And then come just above the hip joint for the tensor fascia latae, TFL. Probably saying it wrong. So you want to come above that hip bone, stack your hips and let's breathe. Okay, go below the hip bone and roll down until you find that tender spot. Ooh, I found it. Left leg's always harder for me. So flex that foot if you want to get a better effect. Let's breathe. And then the pecs, pectoral muscles are also a part of why we have back problems in the back, the upper back. We have knots in our upper back. Once I started rolling my pectoral muscles, I quit having any knots in my back. And that's because it's overactive, and these muscles, like your rhomboids and your lower trapezius, are usually really weak. But if you do Pilates, they get a lot stronger. So take the corner of your roller and go into that pec muscle. It's right there. I should wear something without sleeves so you can see it. But you're going to lay down on the roller. You can also do this with a tennis ball or a cross ball. Let's breathe. And let's take the other corner and go to the other side. Find that tender spot in that pectoral muscle and breathe. So we just rolled all the typically overactive or tight muscles for people, especially if they are in chairs. So now we get to do static stretching. Usually if they're overactive, you do static stretch and just for corrective measures until you get better at this, and then you can do active stretching. But I'm just going to do a static stretch here. First, let's start with a pike. And I want you to put your right heel down and breathe. You're stretching out that calf. And then put your left heel down and breathe. And then put both of them down and just lift your glutes. Give a little hamstring stretch. Lift the glutes to make it work. And then come back into a shell stretch. We're going to do the latissimus dorsi. First, we're going to stretch out that upper back. Just walking those hands forward. Head down. If you can get your forehead down, that's great too. But we're just stretching out that upper back. So you're walking those hands forward. And then pull your belly button to your spine. And you're stretching out that lower back now. And then you're going to go to one side, go toward the screen, and then put the hand farthest from the screen over the hand closest to the screen. And you're going to stretch that opposite side of the body, letting that opposite glute go down to the opposite heel. And breathe. And then walk your hands, do the other side and do the same thing. Away from the screen. And let that glute fall to the heel. And breathe. And walk your hands, walk them up. And just, if you can, some people this is hard on their knees, but just let your quadriceps stretch. Breathe. And then come up ever so gently. You can use the roller to help you stabilize yourself, or you can use the side of a chair or a couch. So the roller would go down here like this, right? So we're going to do this, and we put the knee closest to the roller or the couch or whatever, and you're going to come up and you're going to tilt your hips forward as far as comfortable. You want to feel a stretch in that hip flexor. Come up, reach over, and then reach out and look back at your arm. You're going to get a lot of the muscles in your hip flexor, and then flex that glute closest to the screen. And then come forward. That is a great stretch to do every day. People don't realize lower back pain is because our hip flexors are tight because we're sitting at computers all the time. So let's go to the other side. Put the knee up that's closest to the thing that's holding you up. Lean forward. Feel that stretch down the hip flexor. Arm or the hip flexor. Straight arm up, over and out, and then flex that glute. Antagonistic stretch. Let's breathe. And then if you have a doorway, that's the best thing to do for your pecs. So you can turn off this video, go to a doorway, and go lean through the doorway, stretch out those pecs. But we'll just do it if you don't have a doorway. Let's do it and reach back. It's not as effective doing it this way, but I do that with my classes. Also, because I don't have a bunch of doorways, but also another way to do it is to go into a wall. And see pictures of my children here. Oh, I guess you can't see it, but I'll do this. Fun fact, snow top. Okay, so you want to have it, you can do it 90 degrees, or you can go up and get a better clavicle pec stretch, but you can do it 90 degrees, foot closest to the wall, and stretch. Oh, it feels so good. And then other side, wall stretch, foot closest to the wall, and lean into it. Breathe. Coming back, and that is rolling and stretching pre-Pilates, post-Pilates, early in the morning,
late at night. Great thing to do. I do it twice a day, rolling and stretching. See ya. Bye.